Today we're going to count down 5 outdated designs in World of Warcraft that just need to be put down, put out of their misery, gotten rid of, that could improve the game overnight if they made these 5 changes. Number 1 is transmog. Now they've already made some great leaps in transmog. They gave us a new system. I love it. I love being able to change my transmog on the fly, but the transmog restrictions just need to go. In the past, they've said things about like, oh, well, we want you to be able to recognize what you're fighting in PvP. You don't want to have a warrior that looks like a mage, but we're already there. The Harnier armor right here, like any class can wear that, right? So you don't know what you're facing. Any class can wear any of those. Half these transmog I'm clicking on, any class can wear those, so you already don't know what you're facing. You look at this giant metal banshee, is that a warrior? Is that a mage? I don't know. The set on the bottom middle with the mage hat there, that looks like a mage, but that could be a priest, that could be a warrior. So we already have transmog that breaks all the rules. So why can't we just break the rules a little bit more and let you transmog whatever armor type you want on any character you want? I'm honestly trying to think of some downsides to this, like what could go wrong if they did this, like what would break, who would be unhappy, but I really can't think of anything. I can't think of a single person who would be upset about more transmog options. I think the only thing you could possibly say is the PvPer saying, well, I can't tell what I'm looking at, but you can already click on them and see what class they are. If you're doing any serious PvP like Arena, you already see the names of people, the classes, all that sort of thing. So you don't need to be able to look at them and know what you're looking at because you already have all that information. So I just see this as a net win. There's no reason this shouldn't exist in-game for us. Number 2, I think it's time to get rid of the outdated idea that casters need to just stand still and cast. There are some classes that it makes total sense, like Marksman Hunter, where you're sitting there, you're lining up the shot, you're gaining damage by sitting there. I want that playstyle to exist for some classes. But in Legion Remix, we learned how fun most of the classes could be with just a little bit more movement. And again, I can't really think of any downsides that would happen. There would need to be some balancing of the game, but there's always a need for balancing of the game. And if they made this change, say, next expansion, and then designed the entire expansion around everyone having that increased mobility, I definitely think it would be a marked improvement for most people. Like, I really want to play a Frost Mage, but there's a lot of times where you just have to sit there and stand still and cast, and be able to move around a little bit would be so freeing for that. The only concern, again, that I can think of was when it either comes to PvP and them having a little bit mobility, which I understand. We don't need every class to be super mobile, so maybe taking away some other mobility options or some way, shape, or form, making it so that they are nerfed when they're moving or that there's a downside to it. Something to make it balanced in PvP. I understand that concern, but again, if they made this change at the start of an expansion with it built into the design of the core philosophy, I don't think that would impact that too much. The only other concern would be like raids and such. I know that a part of getting a high DPS parse is knowing where to stand, when to cast, when to do your windows. Knowing your class inside and out and knowing the raid inside and out definitely helps you to do more damage. However, you have things like Beastmaster Hunters, which can move and cast at the same time and still do very well. So clearly it's not that big of a concern since half the classes can already do that. I don't see why all the classes wouldn't be able to do it. Also, again, this was in Legion Remix, and I think the number 1 thread I saw from Legion Remix was either A, give us the hard mode world mode, which was epic, and I wish we had that heroic tier. I really hope that they're still planning on bringing that. And number 2 was bring back casting while moving. Like, that ruined me. I can never go back to a standstill turret style gameplay after experiencing the casters getting to move around during Legion Remix. It was so good, it was so fun, and it made it feel so modern. WoW is, of course, over 20 years old, so it has some systems that are out of date, but that doesn't mean that they have to stay in the past. We can update these, which is why I think casting while moving would be a huge boon. Number 3, I think this is probably going to be my most controversial or unpopular one, but I do think it is time to end the faction war, or at least end the restriction. Every time we bring up the faction war, there's people who want the game to still be set in classic WoW, Warcraft 3. There's high tensions and this big fight across each other, but I don't see that being relevant anymore. They even talk about it when you're unlocking the Argentina, how that's the old horde, that's the old way. We're now working together, and every expansion is the same. Oh no, there's a big threat. We all got to come together, even though we don't like each other, and work together to solve the problems. Like, it's time to stop pretending. If you want to leave the faction war in, fine, I like PvP, I don't want the PvP to go away, but at least remove the restrictions. I dislike that if I want to play with people, like, oh, you're on Horde, I'm on Alliance, well, we need a full party in order to be able to dungeon up. Why? Why can't we just do partial parties? If people are really that upset about seeing Horde in their Alliance dungeon, why can't they just do the race changes like they did in some of the raids where you had to go do it from the other faction experience, we just automatically get changed into a different race? Like, the options already exist, the solutions already exist in the game. Why aren't we utilizing them? Why can't I help my allies or, quote, enemies out in the open world? Why can't I see them? Why can't we do things together? Why can't I heal them? Why can't I do all those things? Like, even from a lore perspective, okay, they might be our enemies, but also they're the, quote, chosen champion, right? So if I see them in danger in the open world, like, yeah, I could take them down, but we also need them to save the world, so maybe healing them's not such a bad thing after all. Plus, it's not like it's hard to say, okay, we've ended the faction war, but we still want PvP to be in there because we don't want to take PvP away. So here's the lore reason, you're all mercenaries. Like, mercenaries have been in the Warcraft universe since the start. So saying these are people who are being hired by different groups to go do things anyways, regardless of the faction war, like, we already have the lore there. It already exists. We already know that sometimes people say, well, I know there's peace. I know you don't want me to do this, but I'm getting paid for it, so I'm going to do it anyways. So why not just incorporate that? Number 4. All right, if that last one wasn't my most unpopular one, this will be my most unpopular one. It's time to end class race restrictions. Every class should be able to be every race. And I know that people are immediately say, well, there's lore reasons. Well, Blizzard's kind of wiped their rear ends with the lore lately, so is there really any good lore justifications for it? I don't think so. There's a few niche cases like Death Knights where no new Death Knights are being raised, where, okay, I see that, but like, it'll take 5 seconds to come up with a workaround. Let's do it right here, right now. Just off the top of my head, Rune Knights have been a thing forever, a non-playable class, and they were in the RPG, right? So, Drakthir Death Knights? No, bad for lore. Drakthir Rune Knights? Well, basically the same thing. Just give them a different passive other than Veteran of the Third or Fourth War, and boom, you've got a Rune Knight, you've got all the same abilities, all the same functions, but they're not Death Knights. But now they can be Death Knights. Boom, problem solved. Or call them Necromancers. Everyone wants Necromancers anyways, so there you go. Boom, problem solved. Every class can already be priests, so why can't every class be paladins? I know that there's this whole argument of like, oh, well, they infuse themselves with light, so it's different. I don't see it. You already have the worship of the light, so why can't you take it just one step further? And every class can already be a warrior, so you've already got the faith, you've already got the martial discipline, like, combine them together, you've got a paladin. I just don't see any justification for why it can't be. You've already got goblin shamans who bribe the elements. You've got goblin priests who bribe the light. So why can't other races just do the same? There's no good reason for that design to exist anymore. Yes, there's some lore things we need to move around a little bit. Yes, we need to have a little bit of good explanation, but I just don't feel like that's a good enough reason to just lock it away forevermore. All right, number 5, ending on a positive note, at least I think most people agree with this one. It's time to make it so that all mounts fly. We already have horses that run on air. Yes, it looks a little ridiculous. Yes, it's a little silly, but like 80% of my mounts I can't use because they're ground mounts, and no one uses ground mounts because we're always flying. So they just kind of sit there in the stable and never do anything. If they all had the functionality to fly, well, then I would have more incentive to use those mounts. So yes, again, it might look a little silly, but we already have flying horses. We already have flying ships. We already have all this nonsense in there. Is it really that hard to believe that some of these ground mounts can fly via magic or enchantment, or it's actually a rocket ship, but it's disguised to look like a horse? Like, there's so many, again, easy lore explanations that there's just no good reason to leave all these cool mounts grounded and thus never used, because when are we ever going to use ground mounts? And that's basically all I have to say on that. Like, just let us fly on the mounts. And if you want to keep it ground only, great, you can just use it on the ground. Like, it just doesn't seem like that big of a deal, or make it like mount equipment so that if someone says, no, I want this mount to be on the ground only, okay, well, then it's on the ground only. You have to put the equipment in the slot if you want to fly, then everyone's happy. Again, it's one of those things where it seems like a really easy solution that makes everyone happy. I don't see any downsides to it, so let's make it happen. So there you have 5 outdated things I think that WoW should change, and they could change them pretty easily and pretty quickly, and it would improve the game. As always, let me know down in the comments down below what you think, or if I just completely missed the mark. I'd love to hear that as well. As always, thank you for watching and have a blessed day.